The day started with incredible great news. Steve Mnuchin with a big stimulus offer, bigger checks, bigger FPUC, bigger amount for dependents, bigger amount for children as well. All incredibly great news. Then it got even better as Democrats became aligned with Steve Mnuchin, supporting him, slamming Nancy Pelosi, telling her to do the deal. The day continued to be good as the president said, go bigger. All eyes were on Steve Mnuchin. Momentum was setting in. Temple of Doom had her back against the wall. And then suddenly Mitch McConnell says, hey, let's put something for a Senate vote. When the Senate reopens next week, first item of business will be stimulus debate and stimulus approval. It couldn't get any better. And then the thing hit. What was that thing? And what is it? And why is everyone with a jaw dropped to the floor tonight? Oh my goodness, this is LALATE. Hey, good evening, everybody, on a very shocking, jaw-dropping evening's LALATE. I appreciate you for joining me on a great night. It is really hot here in Los Angeles. It is about 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time before 6:30 evening tape broadcasts. I'm taping about an hour early, and boy, it is hot. It's not as hot as it is tonight in the offices of Mitch McConnell. If you've not heard, you're going to find out shortly. But first, go to the Fun's channel, subscribe. We have finally done it. 290,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. What a wonderful family this is. Wonderfully nice people that are here to help one another. If you've not subscribed, go to the Fun's channel, subscribe. Next step is 300,000. Also, like this video. In tonight's video, I will be going over why everyone's jaws just dropped today. I just, we're all going to need some Botox by the end of this evening. It's just incredible. I will be going over why Mnuchin's numbers were so great. I'll be going over what Pelosi did this morning, which everyone sort of, threw us to the side because it was much of nothing. Then I'll go over why Trump was so laser focused on getting this done. And then I'll explain to you why the tipping from the side of Mitch was more than the tipping you'll see at a casino. Finally, I'll explain to you what's happening on next week. All right, let's get to the breaking news. And boy, it is breaking news like you've never seen. The day started incredibly well. It started with Steve Mnuchin's deal offers, $1.8 trillion, which actually, since it first debuted on Thursday and then Friday, over the weekend it gained traction. And by Sunday, it was really gaining traction because Steve Mnuchin released his numbers. He released his numbers in whatever form you could say, whether it was, leaked or released, but he released his numbers. Then he released a statement. Then he put Larry Kudlow on Morning News. Then the White House came out in support of it. It was a full-on blitz. And ultimately, when you looked at the numbers, you're like, these are really good. They weren't just good, they were big improvements. Stimulus checks, big improvement. $1,200 stimulus checks for individuals, that's still there. But the big one, big, great news was that people on SSDI, SSI, and Social Security and railroad benefits who had not gotten a stimulus check the first time around were getting a stimulus check this time. And it's $1,200. More than the Temple Doom. More generous, as the president would say. More generous. She's down at $500. She doesn't think you're entitled to a full stimulus check. She's just going to give you $1,200. She's going to give you just $500. Nope. Steve Mnuchin's at $1,200. Full stimulus check for all my dependents who are adults. Doesn't matter if you're on SSCI or SSI or Social Security or railroad benefits. You would get a full stimulus check. Incredible, great news. Then the children got even better. Children under Steve Mnuchin, $1,000 stimulus check. Wow, no one has said anything like that through any of these negotiations. Nancy Pelosi, children going hungry. Miss Pelosi, she's down $500. Children are really hungry. They need that extra $500. But again, the president was more generous. So this was incredibly great news. Wouldn't be taking out child support, wouldn't, no debt collections, no tax liens, all those type of things. All really great news. It continued. And continued. FPUC, really good news. President and Steve Mnuchin, $400 a week, which is where he was in July, but now is extending it into big January. So you get more weeks of FPUC. This is a lot of weeks of FPUC. Really, really great news. The thing that needed tinkering that I wasn't happy with, that should be fixed, was that the retroactive date was September 12th. It should go back to late July. Instead of going backwards, he went forwards, which gave you more weeks, but ultimately I would have preferred him going backwards rather than worrying about what's happening next year. And then state and local, $300 billion went up. That's all that they need. That's all that they need. It's a year and a half of grants for state and local. That's enough. Well, it was such good news that I have been hitting it hard for 2 days. You've been hitting it hard, saying, hey, we're Purple Power. These are great numbers. And apparently it was working, because the great news continued this morning as Andrew Yang, the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, and other Democrats who are very liberally minded, very, not talking about middle of the road Democrats, we're talking about very liberal Democrats, were saying this is a good deal. Enough already. This is a good deal. Do the deal, Nancy. What are you waiting and holding out for? The momentum was building. Then Pelosi issued a news statement, which really didn't help her. She issued a news statement saying, I'm not going to talk about this. I'm going to have my committee members talk about it. Well, that just sort of hit the fan. That just sort of hit the fan with the absolute waste of a representative out of the East Coast who is head of the House Committee for small business, the Marco Rubio of the House, because Marco Rubio is in the Senate. She's absolute waste. She did nothing for my EIDL loan and EIDL grant viewers, and specifically said to them when they reached out to her for help, she says, I only help people in my particular district of my city and county where I work, and otherwise don't contact me. Well, now she's speaking on behalf of the entire American public about what stimulus relief we need. No, you can't have it both ways. If you don't help us, then when we ask for assistance on other issues that are of national concern, then you have no right to speak about our national desires. And in fact, the PPP money that Steve Mnuchin provides in his offer and his EIDL grant and EIDL loan is great. So there's nothing to disrespect in there. And so she absolutely is unfounded, like she usually is. Next, Maxine Waters' comments were taken out of context by Nancy Pelosi because Maxine Waters says, we need rent aid. Well, of course we need rent aid. Maxine Waters wrote the standalone bill for rent aid, which Nancy Pelosi would not put in her own bill. And Maxine Waters says we need rent aid right now. Well, of course, I agree exactly with Maxine Waters, who's absolutely wonderful. But what Pelosi's trying to do is saying that that's what Maxine's position is now. Well, Nancy Pelosi's position is you won't get stimulus relief until March next year because you're not going to have any stimulus passage under a Trump administration until Joe Biden walks in January 2021, which means you don't get money until March of next year. That's not what Maxine Waters means or says. So we're going really well. And then Trump got it even better. He said, we got to stay focused. We got to have the bigger numbers. Yesterday, he dispelled that entire fake narrative that Republicans in the Senate, Lee and Lamar Alexander and Blackburn, had called his office and said, we're not supporting your $1.8 trillion bill. It's too big. He said, untrue, just not true, just not true. We're all aligned. So we were doing really, really well. And then came Mitch. And Mitch said, you know what? When the Senate reopens next week and we get back into session, after I had my Senate race debate last night, this is what he said today. He said, first thing we'll do next week is we will take up stimulus and we'll put it to a vote. Incredible. So we're just delayed this week, which it is Wednesday, just be till Monday. Then we'll have some stimulus law next week. This is incredibly great news. So what are you putting up for a vote, Mitch? Are you putting up the Problem Solvers bill? No. Are you putting up Steve Mnuchin's bill? You're putting up Steve Mnuchin's bill, of course, because the president said everyone's aligned and everyone agrees upon the 1.8. We're so excited you're putting up Steve Mnuchin's bill. No, you're not putting up Steve Mnuchin's bill? Oh, what? Then whose bill are you putting up? I mean, that's the only bill the GOP is talking about now, is Steve Mnuchin's bill. Whose bill are you putting up? Oh, I wrote a new bill, and it's my bill. Excuse me? Yeah, Mitch said, I have a new bill, and I wrote a new bill. Why are you running a new bill? We're supposed to be supporting Steve Mnuchin's bill. No, 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 no. I wrote a new bill. Well, the White House says that everyone in the GOP is aligned, and that call of Lamar Alexander and Lee and all those people wanting less stimulus is untrue, that we were all aligned to 1.8. Well, I wrote a new bill. Oh, well, so then how much did you write the bill for, Mitch? 1.8? No, no. 1? No, no. 0.9? No, 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 no. Mitch, how much did you write this bill for? 0.5. 0.5? What do you mean, 0.5? Half $1 trillion? What? That's the bill you did before, Mitch, that no one wanted. Well, I'm going to introduce it again. You are crazy. You know you're crazy. Yeah, I'm going to introduce the same bill that I introduced before, the $500 billion bill that died after 12 minutes in the Senate. I'm going to introduce it again because I really am. I'm working for the American people. I'm crushing the virus. Crushing the virus is not the thing that needs to be crushed right now. Insane. That is what happened. And if you remember what was in that $500 billion McNugget of a bill, it did not have your stimulus checks in it. Yes, you see me. It did not have your stimulus checks in there. Mitch McConnell does not want to give you stimulus checks. It had $300 of FPUC or $100 of FPUC, some ridiculous amount. It's just like a joke. Oh, it had liability insurance for businesses so you can't sue businesses. Oh, it had more money for businesses so they can all get really rich. You know what PPP, how it works is that the owners of the businesses can claim themselves as their salary. So they claim a salary for themselves and they get money from the federal government to give themselves money. Yeah, that's how PPP works. So this is really interesting. So where's our relief, Mitch? Oh, well, that's just not in this bill. Yeah, that's somewhere else. So then, literally, everything hit the fan. Absolutely everyone was shocked, horrified, and baffled, including the White House. The White House said, "Go big or go home." Guess who needs to go home? Mitch, you need to go home and stay home after the election, Mitch, because this is insane. So tonight, as you sit here tonight at the 11-minute mark, you literally have not one, but now two forces fighting the president. You have Nancy Pelosi, and now you have Mitch McConnell. It's just great. Who else can come into this arena and cause more disruption to the subject matter? Hence, you see the importance of stimulus by executive order. So what's going to happen next week? This is just Wednesday. No, it's Tuesday. This is just Tuesday. I mean, between now and next Monday, we have upwards of 7 days for news reports to just absolutely go like this, at all indications that now Mitch is trying to undo the president and throw him under the bus and back up the bus and drive forward over the bus over and over, under and over. I mean, we have 7 days of press that are going to just tear this apart when we should have had all this incredible momentum with Steve Mnuchin's bill, and ultimately everything that Steve Mnuchin has been working for, from getting people from 1.1 to 1.2 to 1.3 to 1.6 and then now to 1.8, has been thrown aside by a guy who simply just doesn't get it. His actions today, Mitch McConnell, are truly the exemplary evidence of where senators and House representatives have literally wasted the Americans' time. Now, on the other side, there's Nancy Pelosi. Tonight's very clear indication what Nancy Pelosi's strategy is. No stimulus to you at all in your hands until March 2021. Why March? Because the way Pelosi's strategy works is that she waits for a presidential win by Biden, she waits for a Senate win by the Democrats, and they come in January. They don't come in November. If they win in November at the election day, they don't start the next day. They start in January. When they come in January, they start to get to work. Guess how long it takes for them to pass a bill as a law? Well, you sort of know because you've been watching this channel. It's about a month or 2 months. Then they got to set up the agency. Then they have to send out the money. So by the time they pass the law, set up the agency, send out the money, and you receive the money, guess how long that'll be? At least March. So Nancy Pelosi wants you to wait for the stimulus you were owed in April of this year May of this year, June of this year, July of this year, to get it in March of next year. The day started with AMC Theater saying, hey, we can't do this anymore, Nancy. We're running out of money. Well, they didn't say Nancy per se, but they said, we can't do this anymore. We're running out of money. We'll be gone by December. Airlines, one airline, Delta, reported third quarter earnings today. They lost $3 billion in one quarter. One quarter of the year, they lost $3 billion. So people in the Democratic Party simply just don't understand how desperate the situation is about causing people to wait for stimulus until next year. Then on the other side, Mitch thinks that everything is just rosy, no one needs stimulus. And then you have the president not doing executive orders, and we keep on pushing and pushing. The president's just like, let me go dance the YMCA dance. It's like nights like this that you're just wondering, should we all take them to the casino and get them drunk on some milkshakes? Let me answer some of your incredible questions from last night. Marianne Taylor, this is just ridiculous. People are suffering and need help. These comments were, of course, before Mitch's antics today. So this is just in regards to Nancy's events yesterday. J.R. Streets, until I have a check in hand, I'll consider this all another. Paula, our White House isn't doing anything but a soap opera. Sandy, the rich want the poor to die off. Funny times. You don't consider $1,200 watered down. Considered months ago, we never got any. As usual, they cheat away, and this is a check for the majority of the America, and this is awfully cheap. It is cheap. Maxine, the money to help American will go right back in the economy. They've messed up. She's basically saying what economists say. Spend a lot of money on stimulus, and it'll go right back in the economy. It helps. Shiva, it's just all talk. Denny Johnson, I'm really starting to worry about the millions of kids that most likely won't even have a bed for Christmas. If something don't go through in the next few weeks, it could go into the beginning of next year before stimulus would come. November will be so chaotic over the elections, and lame duck probably will make it even worse, sadly, but we've not given up. Purple Power won't quit. I love that. Denny Johnson's always one of the first viewers to come into the comments as soon as the video goes live. He's always winning it, and this comment wins it as well. Thank you, Denny Johnson. DJ Frankie G. People are tired of speculation and hearing when. Brooklyn, I don't see bigger and better. I'm still hearing slap. Dolores, I feel like they raised it because they waited so long. Veronica, my God, they're absolutely failing us. Donald, Mitch didn't even come close. Lynn, we've waited long enough. Veronica, what's puzzling me is all these various doctors on TVs telling us it's going to be very bad this winter. It is going to be very bad. There's going to be lockdowns, and guess what? No stimulus with no lockdowns. And at best, you're going to get this stimulus for this lockdown when this stimulus, you're going to get a stimulus for the new lockdown was for the prior lockdown. Clarence, what about Social Security people, senior citizens getting a little bit more money? Evidently, nobody thinks about that. No, Mnuchin, you're getting $1,200. If you're dependent, if you're not dependent, you're still getting $1,200. Connie, just tell us when we're getting stimulus checks. Paul, we need $2,000, everybody. Codename Spider. 2000, Parrish, Trump should do a large, huge stimulus executive order. Gary, who cares about America? Zone, we need $2,000, no age limit. Robert, money talks. Michael, hey, great report. I'm happy I need $2,000 a month for 6 months. Leroy Cooper, the president's going to throw the election. He really doesn't want to be reelected. He has other things he needs to be done. That's why there hasn't been any executive orders. Interesting comment. Eddie Robles, should be 2,000. Michelle, so close in here so far. For Hertzman, people don't forget they decided to vote putting these judges on the Supreme Court. Karen, I seriously don't know. Winter's coming. Green, I've grown skeptical. There's talks. Nancy, airlines and hotels get to the back of the line. American people come first. Executive orders. I love that. Karen Smith, they're not going to give the children anything but good talks. Lindsay, let's see this if Congress gets this done. Old Nancy needs to go. Love your comments. If you've not dropped a comment to today's video, do so. I'd love to feature it in tomorrow's recording. And go to the Friends channel, subscribe. Thank you for bringing us to 290,000 subscribers. Coming up next is Purple Power. And let's hit for 300,000 subscribers. And also like this video. As always, coming up is a special edition of Purple Power. Stay focused, stay motivated, stay smiling, and stay LALATE for more.